Have you ever walked into a room where you knew you belonged, but everyone around you looked at you like you didn't? That's exactly what happened to David. David was a young man in his late 20s, smart, ambitious, and highly educated. He had worked day and night to reach this point. An interview at one of the biggest companies in the country. Dressed sharply in his navy blue suit, holding a folder full of certificates and achievements, David stepped into the company's lobby. The receptionist, Anna, greeted him warmly. "Good morning, sir. Please have a seat. The manager will see you shortly." David smiled politely and sat down, but as he looked around, he noticed the atmosphere change. Other candidates were waiting too, most of them white. They glanced at him, then at each other, and smirked. One whispered to the other, "Do you think he's in the right place? Maybe he's here for a delivery job?" The other chuckled softly. "Yeah, he doesn't look like someone they'd hire here." David heard them. He felt the sting of their words, but instead of reacting, he straightened his tie, took a deep breath, and thought to himself, "I've worked too hard for this. I belong here, no matter what they think." Finally, his name was called. David walked into the interview room. Behind a large wooden desk sat Mr. Thompson, the hiring manager. He was in his 50s, sharp suit, cold eyes, and not a single smile. For a few seconds, Thompson didn't even look up. He flipped through papers, pretending to be busy. David, right?" he finally said. "Your resume looks interesting." But the way he dragged the word interesting, it didn't sound like a compliment. Then he asked, "Tell me, David, do you really think you'd fit in here?" That word, fit in, it wasn't about skills. It wasn't about experience. It was about color, and David knew it, but he didn't let anger show. He simply smiled and said, "Sir, I believe talent and dedication always fit in, no matter where they are." Thompson leaned back, unimpressed. He started firing off questions, one after another. Difficult questions, almost like traps. What would you do if quarterly profits dropped by 20%? Give me a plan right now. What's your take on our market competition? Be specific. David answered each one calmly and clearly. His voice never shook. His confidence never faded. Finally, Thompson slid a financial chart across the desk and smirked. "Explain this. Tell me what's wrong with this calculation." David studied it carefully, then looked up and said, "With respect, sir, your denominator is off by a zero. The result should be 2.5 million, not 250,000. A small error, but one that could mislead an entire strategy." The room went silent. Thompson's face stiffened. His jaw tightened. He wasn't used to being corrected, especially not by someone he had already judged. But David didn't gloat. He simply added, "Numbers don't lie, sir. That's why I trust them." From the corner of the room, Anna, the secretary, had been watching quietly. Her eyes widened slightly. She was impressed. The interview seemed to be wrapping up coldly when Anna suddenly walked in with a folder. "Sir, this just came from the CEO's office." Thompson opened it and began to read. His eyes widened. His face changed. It was a letter, signed by the CEO himself. It said, "David is the winner of our National Innovation Challenge. His system saved multiple firms over 30% in costs. I want him on our team." Thompson froze. The man he had doubted, the man he had judged, was personally recommended by the highest authority in the company. For the first time, Thompson actually looked at David, really looked. And for the first time, he felt small. David stood up slowly, collected his folder, and looked him in the eyes. His voice was calm but firm. "I didn't come here to prove I'm better than anyone. I came to prove that talent has no color." With dignity, David walked out of the room. Anna gave Thompson a long look, not angry, not harsh, but filled with quiet disapproval. A look that said, "You almost let your prejudice cost this company its best chance." Thompson lowered his gaze. For the first time, he felt the weight of his own bias. And the truth is, racism isn't about facts. It's about assumptions. People who think they're better because of skin color only reveal their own ignorance, because real worth isn't measured by skin. It isn't measured by name. It isn't measured by background. It's measured by skill, by integrity, by humanity, and those shine brighter than any prejudice.